Oh my gosh, man, it is so bright. I should have worn one of the old baseball caps. I should have worn my Blue Jays cap, man. Oh, horrendous. Horrendous conditions for landscape photography as well, but we shall get into that. Welcome back. We are in, if anybody knows, you'll recognise it, I think, Yorkshire. We're in the Yorkshire Dales National Park. I had a one-to-one here last week, up there actually. And just inspired me to come back here, do a little bit of photography of my own. So if you watched my adventure last week, you'll know I went out without getting into it, and I had no inhibitions really. I shot without my tripod, and it was just really relaxed, and I shot the whole day in aperture priority mode, and that is what I want to sort of touch upon a little bit more today. Why you should shoot in aperture priority mode, maybe a little bit of pros and cons of aperture priority mode as well. And it's one of them, let me be honest, God, it's so bright, man. It's one of them where I'm like telling myself this as well, that I should do this more, you know, not always shooting manual. But like I said, we'll get into it. I'm heading to a location that some of you are going to recognise if you look at all them rocks over that wall there. I have been here before actually. But if you've never seen this, you're gonna love it. Horrendous conditions. Let's see what we can get. Oh, there we go, that's the first shot in the bag already, in aperture priority mode, no less. So, welcome to Norbit Erratics, first and foremost. This is a wonderful location where all these scattered rocks were left here. They were dumped here at the end of the last ice age. I think they actually all came down from the Lake District. And they're here right now in 2022, just for us landscape photographers to use as foreground with our mirrorless cameras. No, absolutely wonderful. And that's exactly what I'm doing here, guys. Using some of these rocks, these gorgeous subjects as foreground, and then the background, moving my head out of the way. Look at that. Can't really go too far wrong. So all my job here is to try and organise some of these rocks properly so it looks nice and neat and tidy in the foreground. Now, we're shooting this in aperture priority mode, and the main reason I wanted to talk about it in this video is just because sometimes I think, and again, like I said at the start, I'm telling myself this as well. Sometimes I think there's just no point in shooting in manual. I think I'm probably a little bit of a control freak with manual, and I like to know, I always say this on my one-to-ones, say if I get an image back, all right, into Lightroom and it's not exposed properly. If I've shot in manual and I know that it's me that's made the mistake, that sits okay with me. If I know it was the computer, because I shot in automatic or something like that, if it was the camera's fault, that would wind me up. So I think that's why I'm always so keen to shoot in manual. Generally speaking, I think that's a good thing. But here's the thing, when the light's like this, you know, when it's bright, when you don't have to worry about your shutter speed, just shoot in aperture priority. And it's something I'm going to start doing, I think, from now on when I'm out in these sorts of conditions at least. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about this composition quickly. Very, very simple. I've got probably 4 or 5 of these rocks in the foreground, and the big boy, the main one, is this rectangular one that you can see here. He's just full of texture. He's down in the bottom left. One thing that's well important here, let me show you. See the shadow that's being cast from this big rock down here? He's important, and I, as a photographer, I have to treat that shadow as a physical subject in my photograph, because he is really. So what I'm saying is I don't want to cut the frame into that shadow. I want to make sure I go a little bit left so the whole of that shadow is within the foreground, and it just feels right, you know, for me at least. And it's as simple as that. The aperture that I've chosen in aperture priority mode is f11, and that's for my focus. I've focused on the big rectangular erratic down here, and that means that focus is going to be decent throughout the image, you know, right up to the hills off in the background. And you know what? All right, I said a second ago, the conditions are horrendous. They're not that bad. And it's pleasant, you know, it's lovely. One thing that I know that I'll definitely do with this photograph when I get it into post is actually bring the saturation slider down ever so slightly. Sometimes I think that the colours, when they're so vibrant like this, can be a big distraction against the composition. The sky's too blue for me. The grass is too green for me. You know, if I bring that saturation down slightly, it's like my version of a black and white. I'm rubbish at black and white photography. But this is a similar concept to me in that I do think the colours are quite distracting in this scene. So I'll bring it down slightly so it's a bit more subtle. But yeah, aperture priority, f11, ISO 64, and the camera is choosing 1/100th of a second. Right, I'm just getting the old camera out the bag here, and as I've set you guys up there, I'm going to grab that shot. Pretty much exactly how you've seen it, to be honest, and I hope you can see that rock there balanced nicely with here. And it's very similar to the first shot, obviously, but we've just got perhaps a little bit more drama over here with these ridge lines. I really like the shadow, see just there? I think that's wonderful. Sky's decent, you know, again, I hate repeating myself with this sort of thing, it's not perfect. I think I was a bit harsh earlier when I said horrendous conditions. At least here it's not just a plain blue sky. We've got a little bit of cloud up there, some wispy clouds, just to add a little bit of interest, you know. But a very similar concept here. Rock on the left, vista on the right. Other way around. Rock on the right, vista on the left. What a wally. So there's your dinner. Nice and simple. What I like here, that rock leans, takes the eye in to the vista. You know, if I was on the other side, or imagine if the rock was facing that way, it'd be weird because it'd be taking you out of the photograph, you know, it'd feel unnatural. So another perfect example of aperture priority mode, and just no need here to be using manual. Nice and simple. All I want to choose here, what I'm prioritizing, is my aperture. I'm going to focus on the big rock. He's going to be on the right hand side of the frame, like I said. F11 means that the background hills, and in particular that ridge line, which I really like, are going to be nicely in focus as well. And yeah, oh, that sky's decent. This might actually even look nice as a 16:9 crop, to be honest. I'll just grab that now. So ISO 64, F11, and 1/125th of a second. So almost exactly the same settings as the first shot. So I was just thinking, I want to say this before I forget, because this just popped into my head. As I was packing up then, from taking that other photograph, I was thinking, it's all well and good talking about aperture priority mode and automated modes now, when the light is so even and, like, let's say constant. This light isn't going to change, you know, for probably potentially the next 6 hours. So it's easy to say it now, but I was thinking when we most often photograph as landscape photographer is when the light is changing, when it's changeable at sunset or sunrise, or when you've got drama. And how would aperture priority mode do then? And I was thinking about it, I actually think it'd be even better, and here's why. Say if I'm photographing a sunset, say if I photographed that exact scene there and it was sunset, and the light was changing quite a lot, even if it's just a standard sunset and it's just slowly getting darker, all I'd be doing is stood there behind my tripod, changing the shutter speed, getting a longer shutter speed as to brighten the photograph up ever so slightly, you know, increase my exposure ever so slightly, which is obviously what you do. It's just pointless, isn't it? Like, it comes back to what the whole premise of this video and what I said earlier. Sometimes manual is actually just pointless, when really my aperture would stay the same in that instance. I'd have still photographed that at f11. I'd just be changing my shutter speed. So I may as well just have it in aperture priority. Aperture stays constant, and let the computer, let the camera change the shutter speed for me, and the ISO if it really wants to, you know. And I suppose, you know, we pay so much money, we pay good money for these cameras, that have got these automated or semi-automated features, if you want to call it that are there to be used at the end of the day. And I don't know if there's like, I don't know, like people feel bad to use these automated features. I know that's definitely not what it is with me. It comes back to the control freak thing, but it's there to be used, isn't it? And I just think that popped into my head, and I just thought that was another really good example of a situation where you may as well just use aperture priority, man. Like, not manual. Anyway, we've come to like the brow of this hill now, and look at this. We've got views back over to what is like the west in that direction, or the south and the west, which is really cool. So, let's see if we can get another shot. Oh, honestly, look at this. We've even got like a load of nice limestone pavement here as well. It's, you know, it's not just all the erratics. I do think, look at this now. Tell me what you think. I do reckon this is a location that's made for drama. You know, like stormy rain clouds up there or something really dark, moody, and then all these subjects down here. You could just wander around. You know, you need that big, moody sky to complement these subjects. So that's how it feels for me anyway. Right. Let's crack on. I mean, how can it be denied, really? Look at it. It's another, I feel like I'm showing you the photograph in video form in each image today before I'm taking it. It's something. It's like I say out on the fells all the time. You put yourself in certain situations. A lot of the time, the compositions are there for the taking. You know, all you really need on top of it is some nice light, nice conditioned. You know, I mean, this is all right. What do you want me to say here? Does anyone not know what's going on here? Look, style on the right hand side. I get my left and right correct this time. And then yeah, the dry stone wall just leads us into that shadowed ridge line from earlier that was on about up there. Nice little mountain in the background, and then a few like small sections of limestone pavement even down here. Absolutely lovely. I love the dry stone walls here in the Yorkshire Dales. And again, I won't bang on too much. It'll be a bit of a broken record, but aperture priority f11 is what I'm choosing. ISO 64 and 1/100th of a second. I think every single shot has been around 1/100th of a second, which shows you how much the light isn't changing actually. Maybe the last one of the day. Oh my gosh, things just keep popping into my head. I've just thought of another reason of why we should shoot in aperture priority mode as landscape photographers. This is probably the most important one. And I've just thought about it now. The reason I thought about it, right, is a little rabbit ran in front of me in some of these rocks, and I quickly tried to grab some footage with my video camera. And it's besides the point, but I didn't get any footage. The rabbit was too fast for me. But it made me realise I shoot all of my video footage in aperture priority mode, because the only thing that I'm concerned about is having that like blurry background. So at the minute I'm shooting at f2.8, and I just like the way it looks. It's like a bokeh effect. It looks quite professional. I hope you'll agree. And it made me realise when I was reacting to that rabbit, that happens in landscape photography now and again. Not a lot, but when I'm out on the fells, if the light's amazing, right, and I know the light's been changeable all day, what I will do, and the problem is you never see this, you know, on my YouTube videos, because I'm reacting so quickly. So it's not like I'll be filming it, but if the light's amazing, all I'm doing is quickly getting my camera out my bag as fast as I can, flick it to aperture priority mode, smash it on f11 or something like that, and grab the shot handheld. And then once I've got that one on the memory card in the can, then I'll maybe get the tripod out, calm down a little bit, stick it back to manual, and just make sure that I'm comfortable with my shutter speed and make sure my histogram's all right. And again, like I said earlier, I like to know that it's me that's made the decision, but not the camera. But look, here's the thing. Situations like that, you can miss shots, and I've done it. I'm sure so many of you guys have done it. You can miss shots, you can miss opportunities for beautiful light because you're faffing around with settings. And that's something that I always do. I can't believe I've only thought about that now, but it's true. If the light's nice, the camera comes out the bag as fast as possible, and a shot gets grabbed at aperture priority, And there's definitely been times where I've used that handheld shot, you know, and it comes down to, do you want a photograph that's been shot in aperture priority that's decent, and you're gonna, you know, take the chance on the settings that the camera's going to choose, which is going to be fine, isn't it? Or do you want to miss the opportunity because you were faffing around with manual, because you're a control freak like me with your settings? I know which one I choose. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Even if you're quickly grabbing a photograph on your phone, you know, which is, well, mine at least is like just fully automatic settings. The difference between actually having the photograph and having no photograph at all because you took too long, yeah, it's just something to think about, isn't it? And that's the whole point of this video. It's just something to think about. And same as last week. It's just about not getting bogged down in the same old things all the time, whether it's composition or settings or what you actually photograph, which is what was going on last week. And yeah, I like it because it gets me thinking with my own photography going forward. But yeah, pretty interesting. Comment below. I always love to hear your opinions on these sorts of videos, and you know, how are you guys with aperture priority? Do you use them a lot? I know a lot of you guys probably shoot in aperture priority for reasons explained in this video, because a lot of the time there's no point in manual, but I'd be interested to know. But thanks a lot for tuning in. Please hit the thumbs up button if you could spare me a quick second. It always helps me out. And be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Plenty more of me babbling away and beautiful landscapes to come. But I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.